If you plan on making thousands or even millions with crypto, there are some costly, and I mean costly mistakes that could crush your hopes and dreams. In this video, I'll let you in on some of the mistakes that I made and some of the mistakes that could literally cost you everything that you worked and waited for. Throughout this video, I'm gonna use a lot of overhyped altcoins recently, like Aster and pump.fun as examples. It doesn't really matter what altcoins I use in this video because you're going to soon find out that all of this information I'm giving you in this video is transferable across any altcoin. So to start off, if you didn't know, your first step in crypto should usually be to get a cold storage device. Now, a cold storage device is something that you can keep offline to store all of your crypto. Now, ledger.shop.ledger.com is the most reputable site out of all other crypto sites. You can also use Trezor as well. That's something I trust. And they give you a few different options of how to store your crypto, but this particularly cold storage is the best way to go. Now, you have hardware wallets, you have accessories, and you have bundle packs. Now, it doesn't really matter. It's more about your budget and what you're trying to do, because most of these, as you can see here, support up to 15,000 supported cryptos. I don't know what other type of crypto you're trying to store or for how long you're trying to store them, but this will pretty much cover most cryptos on the market that people usually talk about or that look to buy. And it just depends on what you want. If you want something super fancy with all the connectivity, look, touchscreen, customizable, wireless charging, Bluetooth, USB-C port, mobile and desktop supported, right? And you got a magnet shell, which is pretty cool too. And you get the Ledger Stack, about $600. Remember, I'm from Canada, but USD, you're probably looking at somewhere around 400 something bucks, right? You can go for something a little bit cheaper, like down here, that they all do pretty much the exact same thing. And if you're storing most of the larger to mid cap cryptos, you're pretty much going to be solid no matter what you pick. But more importantly, what you really want to do is come down here on the site and buy one of these things. Now, this is the capsule. Now, this is for your seed phrase. When you open up this wallet and you're looking to store your 24-word or 12-word seed phrase, you want to be keeping it in order in your capsule. So they come in these little like metal rings with letters on them. Yes, letters on them. And you want to keep your 24-word seed phrase in order in these capsules. The reason why you want to be preferably using metal is because if you're in this case of a fire or flood, it's not going to be affected, right? There's other ways to go about this as well. For example, something I've done in the past and something I do continue to do with some of my wallets is I use a safe. Number one, I have a fireproof case, number two, that everything goes in. And then I put that fireproof case in a Ziploc bag, right? And obviously you split up your seed phrase so you don't keep all of your seed phrase words in one particular place and in order. That doesn't make any sense, right? You want to split them up in multiple different locations and you want to follow these protection processes all the same. You want to buy a safe and hide the safe. You want to put that stuff in a fireproof case and you want to put that fireproof case in a Ziploc bag in case of a flood. And you also want to make sure you're doing it with metal. You can use paper, but just know that metal will last way longer. And if you plan on being in crypto for like me for the rest of your life, you probably just want to go this route and save yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of a headache down the road, okay? Now, a few other options as well is using hot wallets. A lot of us have a MetaMask wallet, Rabby wallet, Phantom wallet, whatever kind of wallet you have, right? Sui wallet, for example. What you want to do is have dummy wallets. So that hot wallet, you don't want to be keeping the bulk of your crypto in one hot wallet. You also want to spread it out amongst multiple different hot wallets on multiple different devices. So you could have one on a laptop A, you can have one on laptop B, you can have one on your phone, so on and so forth, one on your desktop, whatever the case is, right? From that point, even if you're storing the bulk of your crypto on a hot wallet, when you go onto random dApps and you connect your wallet to sites, you don't want to be using that wallet, that hot wallet that you stored the majority of your crypto on. You want to send the amount you want to spend over to a dummy wallet, do all the transactions on this dummy wallet, and then once you have the asset that you wanted, you can send it back to the wallet you're using to store. So that's another way I've seen people use a hot wallet like a cold storage wallet. So they'll buy a brand new laptop, maybe spend like 200 bucks, whatever the case may be. They open up a hot wallet. I've done this in the past as well, where you open up a hot wallet and you don't connect that specific wallet to anything, but you take the dummy wallet on another device, and you use this wallet to buy everything, you send it back to that device that you never use for anything else other than having your hot wallet and storing your crypto, right? That's very important. Another thing, if you're using MetaMask, and this is the most notable one, you want to use metamask.io. That's the official site. And what I personally do is use CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and X to give me the official links for all of these sites, which I'm going to get into in a second, okay? Now, as I was saying, the reason why I was able to find the official Ledger site, because there are a lot of fake sites on Google, and if you just type in Ledger on Google, you're going to get a bunch of scam sites, and they're going to trick you into either buying a ledger that is compromised. So once you load all that money on that ledger, they're going to steal and wipe away all the crypto off of it. So you have to make sure you're finding the official site. I come on to X and I search up Ledger, or I go on Google and I search up Ledger and I click their X account, because if you see here 666,000 followers and you go through a bit of the things they posted, you can see on some of the engagement that this is probably the official site. And then you want to click the link in their bio, right? So around since 2014, July as well. So you can probably guess that this is the official site. You want to be able to do the same thing when going through different altcoins. You want to find the official site. You want to come on CoinGecko, okay? CoinGecko down here on the left-hand side of the screen has the official websites tied to any particular altcoin that you're looking at right here. So I know that if I click this link, I'm going to the official Aster site, right? Similar to pump.fun, they just recently released a token a few months ago. You also want to go down and find pump.fun, the official website. And this skill, like I said, is transferable throughout any altcoins. You never, ever want to go on Google and just be clicking random websites. You're going to end up on a phishing site or a scam site. You're going to lose all your crypto. You have to use CoinGecko.com, CoinMarketCap.com, or use X, the official account, and click the links in their bios. You're going to save yourself a headache, I promise you. Now, the two altcoins that I'm going to use as examples throughout the rest of this video is Aster, because this is the one that's been pretty hyped. It's a perp dex. If you don't know, you should know. It's been extremely hyped over the past couple of weeks, right? It's Hyperliquid's newest, biggest competitor. And another one that we talked about last year, Apex Pro, right? That's a free gem for you that I'm obviously going to make a video on, an updated crypto portfolio video on. So subscribe to the channel for that. That's coming in the next couple months, where I'm going to go over a lot of the stuff that I talked about last December, just to see where we ended up a year later, like I promised, right? Like I promised. So subscribe for that. And then we're also going to be using pump.fun, because this is another super hyped one on the meme coin side. So I'm going to give you a bit of both. I'm going to give you the utility side of altcoins and how to vet those, and I'm going to give you the meme coin side of how to look at and vet those as well. So to understand the first step in vetting anything, you want to see if there's any like if the contract code of any altcoin is compromised. So we use a site called d.fi. Now what d.fi, like I said, does, you can see here on the left hand side, is it scans the contract code. So what are we going to do today? We're going to get the contract code of Aster, right? And we're going to scan it just to see what kind of vulnerabilities pop up. So we're going to paste, wait for it to load up here. Just give it a quick sec. Come on. Okay, there it goes. Click it. Now we're going to see it gets an overall score of 83, which is not so bad. Safety score of 87. Now, up at the top, you can see that there's attention required on 6 different things. So we're going to scroll down and see what those potential things are. The first one I see here is a dump risk on the Aster token, meaning a private wallet owns a significant percentage of the token's total supply. Now, what the hell does that mean? That pretty much means that the top 10 holders, as you can see here on the right-hand side, there's too much of the top 10 token holders concentrated at the top. And you can see here, the number one contract that holds the most Aster has 40%. This is probably Binance, it's probably CZ and his boys, or whoever it is, right? The second biggest wallet has over 20%. That's already 60% of the token. Of the owners of this token, it's already 60% of the overall token holders, okay? You go down to the third one, right? 11%. 11%. For me, this is already a red flag, because if just these 3 wallets decide to sell, you're screwed. Now, you can argue that, why would they sell? They just be nuking their own token, blah, 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 blah. Very true. But a lot of these other tokens aren't Aster and aren't created by Binance or CZ, and you're going to have to be careful of all these things. So remember, this stuff isn't specifically catered to Aster or pump.fun, which we'll talk about in a second. This skill is transferable across all altcoins. This is something you should be doing before you even start, before you even look at price and how socials are doing and all that other stuff. This is the first thing you do, because if you come up here and see vulnerabilities, especially that you're not okay with, I wouldn't even go any further, right? I wouldn't even go any further. But anyways, now to do the same thing with rug check, right? So we're going to go to pump.fun. We're going to copy the contract code. We're going to go on rug check. We're going to copy and paste the code here. Click check. And it's going to load up an overall sentiment on the token. So it says good here, right? But for me, this is not good, because look, creator balance already sold. So that tells me that this was a rug pull like most people thought it was, right? The creator of this token sold its share. So they just want to make some money, right? We go a little bit further down. You can see the LP locked in the contract is at 0.24%. So that means at any particular time, they can just pull the liquidity and completely rug this token, right? Any particular time. The token's locked is only at 36.57%. Now, I didn't go into research to see if a lot of the people that bought this token, right, the retail, are able to lock up their tokens and get some sort of a yield, because that would be the only reason why I think anyone would even think to have their money locked in pump.fun. This is something I do not recommend. And if you look at the top 10 holders, you can see here as well, top 10 holders are over 60%. You want to see anywhere between like 10 to 15% is doable. Below 20 as well is pretty good, but generally that sweet spot is between 10 and 15%. That's what you want to see when it comes to investing in any tokens, okay? Because the dump risk is way too high. If all these people coordinate a sell event, you're going to be asked out and you're going to lose the bulk of your money. So that's not what I want for you at all, okay? Now, another thing that I want to make sure you understand when looking at trying to vet different tokens is, how is this token going to compare to other tokens in its narrative? Now, some of the biggest ones are Hyperliquid, Avantis, and Apex Pro, right? So I can actually go up on a site called Token Terminal, and I can click Hyperliquid, I can click Avantis, and I can compare it to Aster. Let's see Avantis here. You can see that Aster has a lot more, it's a bigger market cap, okay? So Avantis is a little bit smaller, which is probably why the trading volume is a little bit higher, even though it's not that much. Avantis has 32 billion trading volume, and Aster has 42 billion, which is actually pretty good, if I had to say so myself. One of the more important things that I want to look at is token holder growth, as you can see here. I want to see how many more people have faith or putting their money into something like Aster and holding it versus Avantis or any other token that we're talking about here. And you can see that Aster has 165,000 token holders to Avantis' 84,000, I should say, which is a big wide margin, but it also makes sense because the market cap on Aster is a lot higher and it's been a lot more hyped. Now, if we click over to Hyperliquid, we can see a very different story, right? Hyperliquid is actually a lot larger than Aster, but if you look at, and you can even see here, right, the volume, you can see that Aster's volume recently has been higher, but overall, in terms of token trading volumes to this point, Hyperliquid has actually had double of that. So understand that this is a really good way to see where Aster stacks up with some of these other perp dexes on the market, and just to see if it's something you might want to invest in. What is the market saying? What are the facts and the numbers behind this particular altcoin telling you in terms of whether it should be a good buy for yourself, or maybe there's something better on the market that you can allocate a part of your, or a piece of your portfolio to, right? So the funny thing about Aster is a lot of people have been buying it up like crazy, and they don't even have an idea of what the future vesting period looks like for a token. Now, if you don't know what a vesting period is, it's pretty much when tokens are going to be unlocked, whether that's from the founders or seed round investments and so on and so forth. Airdrops, as you can see here. So you want to make sure that you're not buying into a potential event where a lot of extra tokens will be released into circulation, right? Will be released on the market. So we use cryptorank.io for this, and we go over to the investing tab, as you can see here on Aster. And you can come down and first off, see the allocation sizes that's allocated to each specific part of the ecosystem. So you have 40% for the airdrop, 30% for the community, you have about 7% for the treasury, 5% for the team, and 4.5% for just liquidity, right? And if you come on down here to the chart, this actually breaks down how much is going to be let onto the market every single day. Now, let me see. This is right, I think the month, but I want to just break down the current month we're in. So this is the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, so that's November. And it's just showing, you can see unlock at 0.98%. And you can see another 0.98%, we'll call it 1%, is being unlocked every single month on the first of every single month. So this is something good to look at, because you can see that there isn't going to be a massive amount of tokens that gets dropped on some random month or random date. It's gradually going to get released over time, which probably won't affect the price of Aster too much. And by, let's see what date this is. This is May of 2027. You'll see the bulk of Aster out to where they drop off, and they only release about 0.12% per month from there on out. So the point of this is that when we get into a bear market, these things are going to matter a lot more, because there's going to be constant new issuance of tokens being put onto the market. And in a bear market, when everyone's selling and you have no buyers, you have no demand, the price of your token is going to fall a lot farther, a lot faster, right? It doesn't matter as much in a bull market, because everyone's just gobbling up everything and there's money flowing around everywhere. And you're not going to see the price of the asset falter too much, because you're always going to have buyers for these new tokens that are being issued and put on to the market. But the opposite is true in a bear market. So you have to keep that in mind before you buy any altcoin or any meme coin. Now, quickly, I'm not going to spend too much time on this page, but you have to look at Aster's social engagement. They have 269,000 followers, and what you're looking for is just a match of whether the stuff that they actually post gets a decent amount of likes, retweets, and comments compared to the amount of followers they have. So as far as I can see, they have a lot of reposts, but the actual engagement on their actual posts are actually pretty decent for the amount of followers that they have, showing me that they didn't just buy a bunch of followers, or they're not just juicing up their engagement, right? So this is good to note as well, because if you don't see a lot of engagement on these posts, chances are you have a token that's probably bought a ton of followers and is trying to dupe anyone that doesn't take the extra literally 15 seconds to go down and check to see if they have decent engagement on their post. And not just from a pin post, from things they posted like at this one 7 hours ago, right? 2.1K likes. That's pretty decent. Easily the most important factor, because now we're at the point where we have Aster, we bought it, we like it, we bought Aster. And I'm not telling you to go buy Aster, right? This is not financial advice, but let's just assume we did, right? And we liked everything we saw. Maybe we bought even pump.fun. You want to go on a website like revoke.cash. Now, I'm not going to go through this because I'm not doxing my own wallet, right? I'm not doing that. But the purpose of this is that you want to connect your wallet to this site, because it's going to be able to allow you to disconnect any contract codes that may be connected to your wallet. And it's very, very simple. So I'll play this quick 24-second video. As you can see here, you connect your wallet on the top right-hand side. You connect your MetaMask, your Rabby wallet, whatever, right? Connected. And pause. I want to go back a second. It's going to show you all of the contracts you've interacted with in the past, right? And they all have approval amounts, as you can see here, of how much they're able to take or transfer from your wallet and the value that's at risk. So after you finish doing all of your transactions, you should probably connect your wallet to a site like this and go over here onto the right side where actions is and just revoke all the access to all the DEXs and the dApps that you use to do all of your DeFi work, just to make sure that no one has access to any of the value or any of the altcoins that are in your wallet, right? Your hot wallet. That is as simple as it is. And when you click revoke, it's going to make you pay a small fee, depending what network you're on. If you're on ETH, it may be a couple bucks, a couple tens of bucks. If it's on like Base or Arbitrum or anything like that, you may pay fractions of a penny, but it's 100% worth it, right? It's 100% worth it. And I may be a little bit off on the ETH price because I don't interact on ETH directly. I only use layer 2s as far as me interacting with ETH because it's just a lot cheaper. Now, looking over at Bitcoin's price, because let's just say we didn't know if it was a good time in the market to be picking up any of these altcoins. We want a decent way and a pretty simple way to figure out if it's a good day or good time horizon to buy any of these altcoins. So I want to type in the 200 week SMA, okay? I'm going to put that on the chart there. Now, if I'm being completely honest, you can do this on the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, depending your time horizon. So depending how long you want to hold or how quickly you want to sell. See, I only do things in cycles. So I buy everything at the lows and I just wait for a close to my market cycle top or peak. So I'll buy anything at the 200 week SMA down here, but you can use like the 21 day MA or 21 day SMA, whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? And you want to just make sure that you're in line with this band. So you can see on a larger time horizon, time scale. Let me just use my marker here. You can see that this area was pretty much a great time to pick up Bitcoin or any other altcoins. And this is something you want to keep in mind, because if you're going into buying any particular altcoins, let's say it's on a 2 week or monthly time frame, you probably want to wait till you get any of these dips down here to pick up any of your altcoins. And you can use something like this, or you can use the RSI, the relative strength index, as well, because it's going to give you a better idea if it's a good time to be buying some of these altcoins. You don't want to be buying up here, because then you're forced to hold the bag until you can cross like previous intra week or intra month highs. You don't want to have to be holding back. You want to be able to buy and with a few days later or a week be in profit because the market spiked because you bought it near a low, right? That's the general consensus or thought process here. This isn't a trading video. I have videos on my channel like that where I break down the market and so on and so forth, but just a quick idea for you to understand. Now, just something else to point out here as well. This is the Nupal, and as simply as said, it shows you when we're in euphoria, greed phase, belief or denial, optimism, hope, and fear, mind you. So we're getting to the negative stuff, the fear or complete capitulation. And this down here is usually when people are just selling, right? They're just selling all of their bags. At the top here, over in belief and denial and euphoria and greed, is usually the top of market peaks. And if you look at the yellow part, this is the Nupal, and this is the part that's going to tell you whether you are in capitulation zones when you really want to be buying, or when you get up into the greed zones, which is probably where you want to be selling, right? So keep this in mind too. This is something else to use alongside the 200 week SMA, just to give you good buying opportunities in the overall cycle peaks and bottoms. And mind you, I'm not making trading videos because this is supposed to be a video for people that are maybe just coming into crypto, or this is their first cycle. These are things that you need to learn first, right? You gotta crawl before you can walk, and you gotta walk before you can run, kind of thing. So I don't want to over cloud you with all this like information and jargon. I want you to be able to understand this stuff clearly first, and then we can get on to the more advanced stuff. And those videos I drop all the time as well too, right? But if you've stayed this long, it's probably because you found some value up until this point, and these are things that you most likely need to hear. So like the video for that as well. Thank you for staying this long, and I'm going to continue on with the video. Now, one thing I will say also in terms of taking profits, you want to make sure you're taking actual profits. So that doesn't mean that you're trading into USD, DC, or Bitcoin, and then you're looking to buy back in, because when the top of the market comes, Bitcoin and altcoins are going to plummet like heck, right? You actually want to have a bit of USDC in one wallet, maybe a bit of USDT in another wallet. Put some money into your actual bank account, maybe hold a bit of cash, whatever the case may be. If you have to stay in assets, put some money in gold, right? Put a little bit of money in treasury bonds, whatever the case is, something liquid enough so that when we do hit the bottom of a market cycle, just a year after the peak, that's the time frame, so 12 months, that you can buy back and have the cash to buy back in. What a lot of people do is they take profits, right? They'll leave them on the side, but then they'll put that money back in intraday. You don't want to be doing that. When we get close to the market cycle top, like when we go back over to the Nupal, when we start to reach up here closer to the greed section, you're going to want to take actual profits. I don't care if it's 10%, 20%, 30% of your overall portfolio, and just keep it in cash or cash equivalents, right? Just keep it in cash, because when the market bottoms, you want to be able to buy back. And for me, honestly, I'm going to be selling everything, like everything. I'm not even going to be buying Bitcoin because I want to get Bitcoin at a cheaper price, right? That's just my whole thing. Now it's risky because some say, oh, we could have something similar to gold where we have like an 8-year run up and then we don't actually get a bear market and blah, 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 blah. I don't think we're there yet. So I'm going to follow all the metrics that I use, right? Like the ISM, interest rates, the DXY, which is the dollar index, and everything like that. The MVRVZ score, the Nupal, for example. And I'm going to be using those charts. When those charts start hitting their top signals, I'm going to be selling everything into cash, because I want to buy back all of these assets at a much, much lower price. And that's just my thought process about the market. Now, a couple little side notes. You want to go on the website. Just see if the website looks legit. That's all you're really looking for. Does it look clean? Does it look like it took a lot of time to do? Because if it didn't, it's probably a scam, right? You also want to make sure that their copyright is updated. This means they actually care about their project, right? They're constantly updating their copyright. You want to also make sure that you're looking at the team. I'm not going to go to the team specifically, but you can click more on any of these sites, and usually you can go to, it should say there should be an about page. I'm not going to spend time looking for it right now, but in any website will have an about page about the team behind a particular token. We know CZ's behind this token. We know he's a credible person. He's probably not going to rug pull you, but on any other altcoin or meme coin, you want to make sure that the team is doxed, right? They're not afraid to put their face out there. So it's just less chance of them scamming you, right? Because they know there's a particular face to come after if that does happen, and even for legal action, right? So that's very, very important. And just to keep it in mind, if you like to go into a lot of the nooks and crannies of a particular token, go on their docs, right? It's either going to be called a white paper, a docs, or a light paper, and you can go through literally everything that they plan on doing, right? Or everything about a particular token right from their doc. These are things that are interesting to know. A lot of people don't do this, but this is something you need to do before you buy any crypto assets. It'll probably save you a lot down the line, because a lot of the times they have a bunch of nonsense in here that means nothing, a bunch of garbage, or they're just doing the exact same thing, copy and paste as somebody else. And you can fish out a lot of the BS from a white paper and a docs. A few quick hitter points as well. Don't click phishing links, especially if you're one of those people that has the bulk of your assets on a centralized exchange like Coinbase app or crypto.com or Kraken on your cell phone, or you have a MetaMask or any hot wallets on your cell phone. Please, for the love of God, don't click random links. Don't click random texts. Don't answer random phone calls. Don't do anything shady on that device. You are going to compromise your entire wallet. My crypto.com account got compromised through an email I had. I don't even know how, but I don't keep any of my assets on any centralized exchanges anyway, so it didn't affect me at all. The person that did it, I think it's from Vietnam. That's where my email, for that specific email, that's where my emails are getting rerouted to. I didn't lose a single dollar because I don't keep any of my money on these apps. I keep them all on hot wallets and cold storage. That's it. And across multiple different ones. So even if one goes down, I didn't die. I'm not out the game. I'm still heavily in the game. Thank you for watching this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.